for as long as I can remember, I've always been interested in stories. And like since I've been growing up, I've always moved to anything that had a good story, be it an anime, a movie, a TV show, or manga or comic books. Anything that had something that could interest me and take my mind away from reality, which was depressing. So I had these interests and I did these things to take my mind off reality basically. And it kind of made me want to create, want to replicate things that other people did with these stories. I mean, when you look at it some way, when you are watching these or when you are reading, when I'm going through these stories, you have this feeling that you are into another world in itself. You feel like you are following the lives of other people, other characters, and you feel like you are part of what's happening in this new world you are in. But that's someone's imagination. That's something someone just came up with. That's something a single person cooked up by himself. And I had this feeling when I watched Game of Thrones and One Piece. I thought, why not replicate that? Why not do something like that? I mean, it is possible. I have these fantasies in my head. Anytime I'm not watching or reading a story, I have these fantasies in my head of my own world, my own characters that I fully immerse myself in. So that was how I decided to start writing stories. And I didn't actually start doing it until beginning 2020. I've had the idea for so long, but I didn't really start until I think March 2020 when I decided to start posting on Wattpad. If you check Wattpad, the first draft of my story is still there. I still update it. But that was when I started, and so far I've been drafting, I've been writing step by step, little by little until today. And it has been a very messy journey. At first, it was a very confusing ordeal for me. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was looking to different places for advice because I discovered that writing the story, telling the story in a way that other people would understand is different from imagining it, it's different from cooking it up in your mind. So I started to try learning things, literature, story structures, and other things like that would help me to improve my own writing. And I learned a lot. The first thing I learned was that, well, writing is usually terrible on the first take. It's something that happens continuously. So I kind of got this idea that no writer actually just comes up with the story at once. They don't just come up with it and it's boom, magical. No, it doesn't make sense that way. They usually go through edits, rewrites, retakes, corrections, and the longer it stays with them, the better the story becomes, I guess. And I also learned that it's not something like you do alone. It's not something that is you against the world. You have to actually involve yourself with other writers. And the way I did this was by reading the works of other writers. I mean, I read the classics, I read contemporary novels, and I still read books that were written by writers of my own circle. That's like my friends and followers and people I met on social media. So I read their works. I read things that were astronomical, things that were very good, so that I could see what made those stories very good and I could copy them and use them in my own writing. I think that was the best way that I saw that you can improve as a writer. Now I know some people say you don't have to read to get better as a writer. Some say you can just watch fantasy, and I'm not going to dispute any of that. That is like something that's like another topic of its own. But I think for me personally, I made more progress when I started reading other books and trying to figure out how I can copy, well, not necessarily copy, but how I can replicate the feelings I got from reading those books in my own writing. So I have short-term goals, I have long-term goals. My short-term goals are they aren't that big, but I hope I can not necessarily get a job, but I hope I can make an income of my writing. I know that is very difficult for writers because it's like a niche that is very saturated. So a lot of people are doing it. You can get a writer almost anywhere these days, but I think I'm just going to try and make it as a creator. So I'll make my own content and actually have people read or watch my content and see if I can make money off it. I can do that, and I think I want to diversify my knowledge of writing. I want to be able to write different things like memoirs, non-fiction, screenplay, screenwriting, scripts, copies, and other good stuff. For my long-term goals actually comes down to my novel, the fantasy novel that I'm writing. I want to be able to publish it traditionally so that I can easily market it well without using my own marketing network. I can use the marketing network of the publishers and my own marketing network to, spread the book as far as possible and get it to as many readers as possible. I think that would be best for my novel. I think that would be the best for me. But who knows? I might find better. But that's really it. I don't really aspire to become like one of the revolutionaries of writing. I don't think we can have those people again. But at least I want my story to be up there. I want my story to be up there amongst great authors, and I want to write more books and have people who want to read those books as I'm writing them. So that'll be all for this video. It's been a while since I made one. I know I say I make one consistently, and I usually don't do that. So I'm not making any promises this time. But either way, thank you for watching this far, and I'll see you next time.